Hello, welcome to the Weber Dojo. Today we are going to work on Ashi Sabaki, which is body shifting, specifically footwork. So you use body shifting to control the distance. You can use it to move yourself, adjusting your distance, your angle, your position. You can use it also to make power. In addition, you can use it to move your opponent. You can use it for the reasons that I just mentioned, and also you can use your body shifting to turn your opponent, to push them back, to pull them. By moving backwards, they may follow you. You can also use it to catch them off guard by using quick footwork. And then lastly, you can use it to put them in a vulnerable position by attacking their weak angle, using your footwork to get there. So today when we work, we're going to just explain and give examples to practice the footwork, but you need to work this at home. So what you do today is not going to be all the work that you need. So this gives you some ideas to practice when you do self-training. So when you get back to the dojo, then we can give you additional feedback, because everything that needs to be mentioned cannot be covered in this video. So we'll start off with focusing on your footwork, but then for your hands, we're going to keep it simple. We're just going to use punches and basic blocks so that we don't get too caught up in what are your hands doing. And then as you improve your footwork, you can apply this to your individual tokui waza, your favorite combination. So for now, we're going to start off with just bouncing. If you haven't warmed up yet, make sure you do that. You pause this video and do that. For those of you that are warmed up, let's continue on. So bouncing, we usually use that in the dojo just as a cardio drill, but there is a use for it in training. So people will use it to explode, to add movement or momentum when they move forward. You can use it to push forward, use it to push back. So some of us are not bouncers and they don't spar that way. I'm one of those people, but I do also understand that you may want to, you can keep bouncing. You may want to be able to do it at least a little bit, and then you can decide if it's something that you want to add or not. Okay, switch your feet. And then move forward and backwards. Switch. 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 Now, if you have trouble bouncing, I should have said this earlier, but I know that our students already know it. You cannot lift your feet up off the ground if you don't want to. You can bounce your knees, be on the balls of your feet this way, and then when we go forward and backwards, you'll push forward, push backwards, push forward, push backwards, and then switch. Work to get back to your rhythm as quick as you can. Switch. And switch. All right, stand up. Got to get my line to make sure that I don't go too far forward so you can see me. The first footwork we're going to work on today is suriashi, and we were doing that a little bit when we were doing the bouncing. So we added it to that drill. So when you use suriashi, the leading foot leads, the following foot follows. So if I want to go forward, this is the lead foot, it steps first. So it steps, then the back foot steps up to maintain the same stance that I started in. So when I'm just shifting, of course, you don't make a fundamental stance and make like a front stance or back stance. You're just using this to move the distance and change the distance. So from here, this foot leads, this foot follows. So if I started in this stance with my feet this far apart, this is how I want to end up. So now I'm going backwards. So lead foot steps first, back foot or the following foot then follows along. You want to make sure that you're using the following leg in this drill, this particular footwork. That's going to be the driving leg. So if I'm moving forward, this is the back leg. So the back leg would push to allow this one to step, and then this one recovers to assume the same stance and get back to where you started. So it's an expansion and a contraction. So here you expand, then you contract. Okay, so let's work that. A lot of times what we'll say is push, step, step. So you push with the back leg, step, then step. So let's go back. I'm not sure how much room you have. I'm going to use about 3 steps, maybe 3 full steps. If you have to adjust your distance, or if you have to maybe write down this drill, practice it in a hallway so that you get the full effect of what we're doing, that may be how you can adapt this for yourself. So my left side is going to be forward. So it doesn't matter to me which side is forward, because I'll try to use the direction. I'll try to make it standard on when I'm talking about which foot we're using. So from here, I'm going to put my hands up so that I practice correct body position for my hands. So I want you to push with your back leg, step, step. Push, step, step. Push, step, step. Then I'm going to go the other way. So for this one, I am going to change so that it might be a little bit easier for you to see. So I'm going to push. My back foot is my leading foot. So this is the direction I want to go. So I want this foot to step first. So this foot is going to drive this foot back, then recoil to maintain the kamae stance again. Push, step, step, then push, step, step. Okay? You can also use this drill to go side to side. If I want to go this direction, this foot, if you look at my feet, my right foot is closer to this direction, so it would step first. And the same is true if I want to go to the left. My left foot is closer to that direction, so I will use and move my left foot first. Okay, so this is Suriashi. So let's do a little bit of a drill using our hands. So we're going to just work on punching. So we're going to start, we're just going to make 3 steps forward, but I want you to start with like a bounce, and then I want you to drive forward. So you'll do like two bounces and then shift forward. So it'll look like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then let's just add a punch to that to give our hands a little something to do. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. So then, once you're finished with that, you can pause this video if you need to. Practice it a little more. You can just do 1, then jump, or not jump, push. 1, push, 1, push. Okay. Each time I'm punching, I am pulling my back hand back. It's up to you on your level of training on whether you keep your hand out or not. Brown belts, I really prefer that you pull it back to make sure that you maintain the basic form. Okay, now this time we're not going to do any bouncing, we're just going to drive. The bouncing helps propel you, and I want you to try to get that same feeling without the bounce. All right, let's try 3 times. Each, ni, san, ai. Okay, come back. So now we're going to do another version of Suriashi. I'm just giving you an idea as to how you can adapt and work different drills using this footwork. All right, so if at any time you want to switch your feet, that's okay with me. So from here, you're going to go forward 2 times. 1, 2, backwards 1. Okay, move back if you have to. This time I'm going to continue to go forward. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1. Okay, and then you can do the same thing going backwards. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1. Okay, and you can pair that with arm techniques if you'd like as well. I'm trying to focus on the footwork as much as I can. So you're going to want to practice this footwork in any situation you can think that might be beneficial. So let me give you one more. From here, you can practice not just going straight forward and straight back or to the sides. You can also shift off to an angle. So here's an example of, I'll face the camera. Here's an example of a combination you may be able to use. You use this Suriashi to set your body up. Now you can use your leg, side thrust kick, if your opponent was here. And that is the weak angle that I was talking about earlier. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next footwork. The next footwork is Sugiashi. So Sugiashi, you might hear us use that in class. This is where it's like a shuffle step. Your back foot comes up to your front foot, somewhere near it, and then the front foot takes over. For this footwork, the leg that's in front, foot that's in front always maintains being in front here, okay? And then when you're going backwards, it's the same. The leg that's in back always stays first, is always back. So here, 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 okay? So we'll say this foot moves halfway, this foot moves halfway, okay? So let's do a drill for this one. It's one that we commonly use in class. So when you bring your back foot up, I want you to throw a short punch. Then when your front foot steps forward, I want you to throw a counter punch. Then you go back to Kamae. Right? So 1, 2, back to Kamae. 1, 2, back to Kamae. All right? Let's try it again. 1, 2. Come on. 1, 2. One more time. Okay, and then what I find with this footwork, for me, it seems like I can get to the attacker, my opponent, a little bit quicker. Right, so we can also work this drill moving backwards. So I'm going to allow you to choose any block you'd like. I want you to block Jodan. I want you to block face level. So when you come backwards, you can make 1, 2, then Kamae. 1, 2, then Kamae. 1, 2, Kamae. 1, 2, Kamae. One more time. 1, 2, Kamae. Okay, so you can use this drill moving forward offensively, and you can use it defensively. Okay, so this next one, I'm going to move forward. So the other drills, the other footwork drills may not take as long as the first one, but you can certainly apply the drills that we've done to this other footwork that we're going to practice. So another one that we're going to practice next is a Yumiashi. So that's normal stepping. That's like step and punch, step back, things like that. So we know how to do that, and we practice that when we're practicing our Kihon. So let's put it in a free sparring scenario, and just practice it a few times so that you can review that. Okay, so from here, start from freestyle. I want you to do Oizuki, Jodan, Shudan, doesn't matter. And then you come back to Kamae. This is a Yumi Ashi. So you step forward, punch, and then recover back. All right? Let's move backwards again. Ready? 1, recover. 2, recover. 3, recover. And then when you step back, I want you to do some sort of a block for Chudan, for your stomach level. You ready? 1. I was going to counter punch. 2. 1. Right? 3. All right, so let's try going forward and backwards one more time. So just step and punch. 1, 2, 3. Stepping back, block Chudan level. 1, and if you feel the need to counter punch, go ahead. 2, and 3. Right, and recover. Okay, we're going to do another drill using the Yumiashi footwork. So from here, we were practicing this a little bit just before our dojo closed, which it's hard to believe it's been almost a month already. So I miss everybody. I hope to see you back in the dojo training, and I hope to see what improvement you've made on your footwork. So I hope that you have the opportunity to practice this more at home. All right, so the next one, we're going to use that same footwork, So from here, you're going to counter punch in place. Then you're going to step through, counter punch, then recover. So when you make this first one, you do have to step out and make front stance because this is not a front stance. Okay, this is freestyle stance. So ready, 1, step forward, counter punch, 2, recover. All right, let's go back. I'm not sure how much room you have. All right, ready, counter punch, step, counter punch, recover. Counter punch, step, counter punch, recover. Counter punch, recover. You're probably out of room. Let's go back. So now what I want you to do, maybe only able to do it one count, but I want you to work on now making this footwork work a little bit better for you. So from here, when you make this counter punch, I want you to act as if somebody's pulling your hand and pulling you forward. So it'll look more like this. One leads to the next. One technique, so this technique to technique connection is really evident in this drill. So let's try again. 1, 2. Ready? 1, 2. Okay, now it's one count. I want you to do both punches. So work on your footwork. If you're only keeping one leg forward, make sure you practice the other side on your own. Ready? Go. Ready? Go. Ready? And go. All right, and stand up. Okay, bow. And relax for a second. So what you're going to want to do we've just gone over 3 different types of footwork so far. Practice 30 seconds where all you're doing is working the footwork. We're going to practice some more in a bit, but if you practice just a couple at a time, that'll maybe make you more fluent in the footwork that you've learned so far. So practice 30 seconds at a time, no arm techniques. Just practice working, moving your feet. Now we're going to put these 3 footwork drills together and combine them to make one drill. It's going to target short distance, medium distance, and long distance. So we'll use Suriashi. The first drill, we're going to do that we're going to use counter punch. So on this one, push, step, step, and then you end up here again. So this is when the distance is close. Then we're going to add on to that Sugiashi, where the distance is medium. We're going to do short punch, counter punch. Then lastly, we're going to do the Ayami Ashi, where you do counter punch to counter punch, and you do a complete step, okay? So let's make it 3 counts. So from starting position, favorite side is forward in Kamae. First count is counter punch. You're going to use the Suriashi, 1. Now, second count, you're going to use Sugiashi. You're going to bring your back foot up, short punch, then counter punch, and then recover back to Kamae. Then the third count, you're going to use a Yumiashi, where you you launch your counter punch, 1 step and counter punch. All right, let's come back. This takes like 2 steps and 1 shift, so I'm hoping that you have enough room to practice this where you are. Ready? First one, 1, then 2, then 3. All right, reset. 1, 2, 3. Reset. One more time this way. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to work to blend those into one smooth motion, into one count. What you may find is that it may be easier not to come back to Kamae in between each technique. So from here, you may go 1. This one may work out to come back 2, but this one, 2, may lead right into 3. So you may not have to come back and re-punch. Okay, so let's play with that a little bit. Ready? Practice that. 1 count. 1. Ready? 2. And back. One more time. 3. And recover. So that's just an idea of one way you could put together those 3 different footwork drills and make a combination, which is what we've done. Of course, we're just using punching, but you're welcome to switch out and use your individual techniques once you feel more comfortable. All right, relax. We will continue with some more footwork drills. I'm going to give these a defensive feel to them, not that they can only be used defensively. All of the footwork that I think that we're working on can be used either offensively or defensive. So I'm going to choose 4 more that we're going to work on defensively. The first one is going to be Yoriashi. Yoriashi you hear a lot in class also. That's where both feet slide, and you're going to make a distance of about 1 foot in the direction that you're moving. For Yoriashi, both feet slide, and you'll use this to make up maybe a distance in a mistake for your offense or defense. So since today I'm going to use it defensively, we're going to pair it with a block. So I want you to get in your freestyle stance, and I want you to just slide back or slide to an angle. You can use an angle if you prefer, and make a block for your face. And then follow it up with a counter punch. Okay, ready? 1. And then recover. 2. Recover. 3. Recover. 4. Recover. 5. And recover. Okay, so Yoriashi, it's where the person is probably close. You only move a short distance. You may use that as if somebody attacks you suddenly and you don't have time to make a huge step, it's doing something to move your body out of the way slightly. Okay, so the next one we're going to work on is Mawashi Ashi. So if you think of Mawashi Geri, that's a circular or arcing motion, and it's the same with Mawashi Ashi. So you rotate in a circular motion. So 1 foot is your pivot foot, and you rotate around on the pivot foot. So you can rotate on your front foot, you can rotate on your back foot. Okay, so let's do a drill just keeping our front foot in place and rotating around. So I think for this drill I'll face the camera. It might be better for you. I'm trying to face the angles that you might be able to see what my feet are doing the best. All right, so from here, I want you to block Chudan, your Chudan level with any block you want. Okay, so let's make a rotation. Mawashi, your front leg stays the same. 1, and then come through and make your counter punch and recover. 2, back foot moves as far as it needs to. Maybe you move pretty far around. You're gonna, if your partner is here, your opponent is here, you're gonna have to adjust pretty much. But of course, if they've gone past you, then you're setting yourself up to have the best angle for your attack. So this foot can move any variety here when you make this. You could even move all the way around if you wanted. All right, let's try a couple more. 1, 2. Okay, now let's practice rotating using Mawashi Ashi off of our back foot. So this one might take a little bit longer, so it feels like like you're stepping back, but you step and rotate around on your back foot. Okay, so same thing, I want you to block Chudan. 1, and then counter punch, and then reset. So make sure, in my case, my left side's forward, so I'm going to recover and turn back to here. 2. Recover. 3. Recover. 4. Recover. 5. One more time. Go. And recover. So again, I'm giving these next few footwork drills a defensive feel. That doesn't mean that you can't use them offensively. All right, so the next one is Kai-Ashi. So Kai-Ashi is switching your feet. So in this case, you pretty much want your body center the same. My left leg is forward. I'm going to bring my foot back and step out with my other foot. You want to try to keep this in close position to the same, meaning you don't want to come all the way back and step forward. Now, if you're pairing this with a kick, that you're going to have to adjust your weight back more because you're going to be on one leg. Just make sure that you take that into consideration because it's going to change the timing of the technique. So we're going to keep with the just simple blocks, simple punches idea. So we're not going to be adding kicks today. So bring your foot back. Do you notice I change my hands as I step forward? Change my hands. Change my hands. Change my hands. Okay, now we're going to pair this with a block. For now, I want you to try pressing block. So when you come back, press. Then maybe Kizami Jodan. Ready? 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, so you want to try to keep your center the same as best you can, and then work on switching your feet quickly. Okay, so this is Kai-Ashi. So you can make this in 1 count or 2. We've been working on it as 2, 1, 2. You can also make it without something here where you're just evading and just using the other side. So you would do that if you think that by changing your feet, you're going to have a better angle for your attack. So here, punch off this way, and then using Mawashi-Ashi to recover back here. So you always want to come back to, after you attack, you always want to come back to Kamae. So you don't want to stay out here, out in this position. You always want to come back so you can protect yourself again. Okay, so you can practice that as 2 steps. You can also practice it as 1 step. Okay, the last one we're going to cover today is Hiraki-Ashi. So that is, think about that as moving offline, stepping out of the way. So if I'm here, it'll be stepping here. Here, stepping here. Okay, so I like to use this in my defensive drills when I'm doing free sparring, especially. So I step offline and then I switch my feet. So the way I teach that is I teach that as a triangle drill. So from here, if I'm gonna, I have this little mark on the floor, I don't know if you can see it. This is where I try to stay behind, pretty close to, so that you guys can see my feet and my head. More importantly, Jeff's feet, Jeff's head, because he's a lot taller than me. So from here, I'm gonna take my left foot. So I'm gonna imagine making a triangle. Here's 1, 2, and there's 3. So foot number, or position number 2, this foot is going to step over to 3. 1 is going to step over to 2. Okay, let's try again. Position number 2, this foot is going to step to 3. 1 is going to step to 2. So they just both move over one step, 1 foot. So here, here. And watch my hands change as this foot, my right foot is forward, I change my hands as well. You can make this 1 step, or sorry, 2 counts, this way, or you can make it quick, where it's more of a quick, just rotate your body and put your feet in that position. So when you make it 2 steps, the reason I like to use it is I will use the first step for a block, and then I'll use the second step as my counter. and then I work to speed that up as quickly as I can. So when I step over, I'm going to block chewed-on level with a down block. Then I'm going to step forward, and then I'm ready to throw my counter punch. So from here, it'll look like this. 1, 2. Now, if the attacker is coming right at me, this steps offline here. Then this one comes to an angle. Hopefully, I'm going to be attacking them more to the side. I'm not going to be attacking them to the front because this is their front. Now I'm offline of the tracks that they're creating, you know, the train coming down the track, and then I'm attacking the side. So let's practice that a little bit more. 1, reset, 2, reset, 3, reset, 4, reset, and 5, and reset. Okay, so these are of course just examples of some things that you can do with the footwork that we've done. I'd like to use these last 4. I'll use I'll choose 3. I'll put together a drill, and then we'll change and put together a drill using the last one as well. So on your own, sometime after today, try to choose maybe 3 or 4 of these drills that we've just worked on and work 30 seconds just practicing your footwork. Let's choose 3 of those last 4 footwork positions and put together a drill. So I'm creating these. You can, of course, I encourage you to make up your own. All right, so from here, let's start in Kamae, your favorite side forward. You're going to use Yuri-Ashi and defend your face. Ready? Each. Now, right from here, I don't want you to add your counter punch for this one because I want to eventually put these together maybe so that it's a quicker drill. So you're making the first block. Then the second block you're going to make by using mawashi. So this one I want you to defend chewed-on level. So jodan, chewed-on. Now go ahead and make your counter punch. Back to Kamae. Then on this one we're going to use the last one that we use, which is Hirakiashi. So let me face this way because I feel like I'm not facing the camera. Let's try again. So from here, first one is just Yuri-Ashi. Then the next one is Mawashi-Ashi. So you're going to use your rotation, rotate on your support foot. Go ahead and add your counter punch from here. Then come back to Kamae. Then you're going to use the last one, the Hirakiashi, where you're going to step to the side, block chewed on, and then counter punch. All right, let me start again. So from here, first one is block, any block you want. Then rotate around using your front foot as a pivot foot using Mawashi-Ashi. So Mawashi-Ashi, and then counter punch, back to Kamae. Then we're going to do the triangle step that we discussed. Block chewed on, counter punch, recover. All right, let's try again. 1, 2, 3. Let's try again. 1, 2. Oh, I did that one first, sorry. My mistake, let's try again. 1, I used the second step. 2, then 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. And recover. Okay, so that was using 3. Now we're going to change the last one out so we get the opportunity to work Kai-Ashi. So because we have the opportunity to practice it again, I'm going to change the Mawashi-Ashi as well. So from here, first one is the same. Step back, block your face. Then instead of rotating off your front leg, I want you to rotate off your back leg, Mawashi-Ashi, then Yakuzuki, counter punch. Come back to Kamae. Now we're going to use Kai-Ashi. So we're going to do pressing block and then step and punch. All right, let's try again. So from here, 1, any block you want for face. Then rotate on your back leg, any block you want to shoot on, and then counter punch, recover. Then on this one, Kai Ashi pressing block, you could also do a down block. I'm going to use pressing block today, and then Kizami-zuki Jodan. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's try again. 1, 2, 3. One more time. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. All right, and stand up. So relax. So for some points for these drills that we're doing, and any time that you're working on footwork, make sure that you always return to kamae. That's going to be important. I don't want you stuck out here thinking that this is the end of the technique. So if you have an oizuki as your technique for sparring isn't finished here. It's finished here or finished here, whatever your choice is. So make sure that you're always coming back to kamae, to ready position, so you can protect yourself. The next thing is, make sure that you're using the driving leg. When you're either stepping, rotating, shifting, there's always going to be one leg that drives the other leg to help create power. So make sure that you're exploring that as well. Keep in mind some common mistakes. One is incorrect body movement. So moving your hand, then your body, then your foot. So you want to make sure that you use the correct power train of techniques to make sure that you're making the most effective technique that you can. And when you're put on the spot, when you're doing free sparring, everything happens in a second. You have to make a choice in a split second. So that's why we practice these over and over and over, because the way you train is the way that you're going to react in a real situation. Next thing is breaking your posture. So for instance, if I'm going to use Kai Ashi, this one, breaking your posture before you move back in. That will weaken your body, it'll weaken your block, it also weakens your opportunity to counterattack because your posture is broken. Okay, that's something that we want to do to an opponent, not something that we want them to do to us. Then also adding unnecessary movement. So unnecessary movement is things like double stepping. You're telegraphing what you're doing. Anything like that, if you're doing a double step, other telegraphing where you pull your hand back, lift your shoulders up, do something like that, even with your face. What that does is it telegraphs to the other person that you're about to move. It's wasted energy, and often it's a waste of time. So you're delaying your technique by moving your front foot. Last thing is changing your height. Make sure that you keep your height the same. So when you're stepping forward, don't come up and go down. You want to make sure that you're staying the same height as you transition from movement to movement. Many factors will dictate the best body shifting to use. It needs to be decided in a split second. So practicing the many variations will help you make the correct choice. Kata offers many opportunities to practice body shifting in a variety of directions and situations. Each time you change a position, it'll teach the performer, it'll teach you a lesson. So kata includes shifting for insufficient distance, and it uses a variety of stances to have you practice that as well. Ippon kumite, Jiu Ippon kumite offer the opportunity to explore using footwork defensively. So I want you to learn to adapt and add movement to vary the direction and the distance. So have fun creating your own drills at home using these and other types of Ashi Sabaki.